Hey everyone, Richard Metal Fan here, bringing you guys an old school album review. And today we're going to be talking about this album that hit its 25th anniversary, well today. It's from one of my personal favorite bands, and as you can see by the title, today we're going to be looking into Heartwork by Carcass. As you can see, here is my copy, signed by Jeff Walker, and he says rock and roll. But yeah, this is, I believe, their third or fourth album, I can't remember, released on October 18th, 1993. And Carcass are, in my opinion, one of the best death metal bands I've heard, hailing all the way from the UK. And they've sort of like been around since like the mid to late 80s with like a bunch of other English bands, like of course Bolt Thrower and Napalm Death, and sort of like the death metal or extreme metal world in the UK. And I feel like Carcass are by far the most commercially successful and sort of like the most creative outfit of those previous two, the two I mentioned, and then and they just like push boundaries of what was like possible in like the metal template. And the band just, in my honest opinion, I don't even know what to say. I honestly think Heartwork, in my opinion, is probably Carcass's best album. Like, it's just gnarly sounding. Like, the production is just insanely just brutal. Then just like Jeff Walker just sounds like pissed off as ever. Just like his vocals are just insanely good. And just like the bass playing is pretty audible. You could definitely hear it well in the mix. And guitar wise, Michael Amott and Bill Steers, just like the leads and just like the guitar tone on this album is just perfect. Like I don't know how to describe it. It just sounds so fucking good. And I forget the drummer's name, but the drumming on any Carcass on this album is just really good. So yeah, without further ado, let's just dive into this album track by track. Now it starts off with, in my opinion, the most compelling roller coaster like opener, which is the song Buried Dreams. Like, it's just an ultimate mid-paced death metal shredder, and Michael and Bill's like duels erupting into like a tornado, sharp cutting the riffs into precise musical slaughter, adroitly supervised by sort of like the hellish apocalyptic shrieks by Jeff Walker. And yet this would sort of be different from anything the guys had composed was previously, although following this song would be Carnal Forge, which speeds up by admirably recalling the preceding opus in every way, except sort of like the increased sense of sort of like melody that is reflected in both the lead and the riff department, regardless of sort of like the hyperactive way of execution that is featured with sort of like isolation blast beats. No Love Lost, which starts a bit of controversy with its openly mainstream power thrashy flavor in the riffs, which sort of like develops into like a stomping near proto-groovy fashion that was sort of like Michael's sort of like stylish leads that sort of like saves this number from being viewed as a filler. Then we go into Heartwork, the title track, which sort of take care of the business right after the fast ripping guitars and sort of like a gorgeous virtuoso melodies that the band has sort of like shifting tempos that will create sort of like a supreme shred fest pulled out mostly within like the mid-pace confines, save sort of like the fierce main blast beat motif. Embodiment prefers sort of like the mid-tempo parameters again, but there's nothing wrong with this consistent, unbroken stride, which is carved by those unforgettable melodic turns and these sort of like intimidating screamy leads. And alternation is the name of the game, and this mortal coil is sort of like a death metal rager with sort of like fierce rapid fire riffs that is later reshuffled a bit by sort of like merry gallops, which appear out of nowhere, sort of like the winds of thrash in this charmingly nonchalant manner. Both sides sort of like take a turn throughout, although it is not aggression that will rule out the proceedings here. And the next is Arbaet's Mact Flesh. I probably butchered that, but it's sort of like another vicious speedster with even less controlled blast beats arrangement, sort of like devastating fretwork beneath sort of like the technical. Blind leading the blind, and sort of like elaborates on sort of like the technical arrangement by sort of like mixing in sort of like a pace sector, sort of like stomping rhythms, and more amply used among the omnipresent speedy crescendos. The doctrinal expletives. So it's just sort of like a brilliant pounding technicolor with sort of like the band winding vortexes of inventive shape-shifting riffage, which is a pure dramatic head-spinning bliss without a single face-pass dash. And the antidote is sort of like the grand, like psychedelia is sort of like the closing track of the album, which is Death Certificate, which is a smattering headbanger with sort of like virtuosic, like intense psychophrenic techniques. Blech, I can't even speak today, I'm sorry. It sort of like forms a fantastic contracting melee with sort of like its preceding number, the binding link between the two being a cool slower passage starting in the second half. And this is a truly pioneering album. Like, this album sort of like capulated Carcass and sort of like the stratosphere, and hints at sort of like sort of like follows into like sort of like their Swedish counterparts being sort of like At the Gates or any of the bands from that period. But yeah, if I were to give this a score, I'm gonna give this a solid 10 out of 10. One of the best Carcass album in their discography. It's just, I don't even know how to describe it. Just like the melody they put in, sort of like the technical stuff, is just really great. So yeah, that's my review of Heartwork by Carcass, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about it, and I'll see you all in the next video. Keep it metal.